Now we're going to factor this trinomial. To factor it, what we're going to do is we're going to take into consideration the fact that a trinomial like this, a trinomial in x, is can be thought of as the result of the process of foiling two binomials. So we're going to have two binomials, and when we multiply the first terms in those binomial f, that's how we're going to get this term right here, the first term in our trinomial. When we multiply the outside terms, the two terms on the outsides of our binomials, and the inside terms, the two terms on the inside of our binomials, we're going to get the middle term, and the L part, the last terms in the binomials multiplied by each other, should give us this last term here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that into consideration, and we're going to try to come up with a factorization of this trinomial. So the first term in the trinomial comes from multiplying the first two terms in the binomials. So in order to get 3x squared, well, I need a term that has a factor of x in each of my binomials. So in order to get 3x squared, the first binomial would have to have 3x as one of its terms, and the second binomial would have to have x. And that's because 3 is a prime number, and the only way of getting 3 is multiplying 3 by 1. So therefore, I can fix these two terms, 3x and x. Now I'm going to focus on the L part of FOIL, which is going to give me this last term, and that last term is going to be the product of the two last terms in each of the binomials. So in the first binomial, I need to put, well, I need to put the factors of 8 in each of these binomials. So first, I'm going to start off by trying to see if maybe the factors of 8 that I need to use are 1 and 8. But remember, this middle term, negative 10x, has to come from adding the outside product, which is going to be 24x, and the inside part, which is going to be 1x, from FOIL. The outside, inside is how we're going, adding those two terms is going to be how we're going to get this middle term. And I don't see any way of adding 24 and 1 to get 10. So therefore, the 1 and the 8 do not work in this order. So what I want to do next is I want to try to see if another factorization that has a 3 and an x in the first two and factors of 8 in the second two will work. So I tried that, it didn't work. So I'm going to come back. Let's see. Suppose I put this 3x here and the x here, which is fixed. And now instead of putting a 1 in the first parenthesis and an 8 in the second parenthesis, I reverse that and put an 8 here and a 1 here. If I do that, let's see what I get for outside, inside. Well, here, outside will give me a 3x, inside will give me an 8x, and now I have to see if I can get a negative 10x, which is the middle term, from an 8x and a 3x. Well, if I add 8x and 3x, I get 11x, which is not 10x. And if I subtract 8x and 3x, I can only get either negative 5x or positive 5x, neither one of those being negative 10x. So the factors of 1 and 8 will not work. So I'm going to move on because 8 has two other factors. 1 and 8 don't work. So I'm going to try the other two factors of 8, which are 2 and 4. So let's go back here. Let's see. So once again, I know that because 3 is a prime number, I'm focusing on that. 3 is a prime number, so I know 3x and x have to be in the first positions of each of my binomials. So now let's try the factors of 8. All right, let's go ahead and try the 2 and the 8 as factors and see what we get. Well, when I multiply outside, I get, oops, not 2 and 8, 2 and 4. 2 times 4 is 8. So when I try the factors 2 and 4, when I multiply outside, I get positive 12x. When I multiply inside, I get 2x. Well, let me see. The sum of these has to be 10x. And it has to be a negative 10x. And not only that, The two factors of 8 have to have the opposite sign because this is a negative 8. So if one of these were negative, I could possibly get negative 10x. If the negative 12 is negative, when I add these two together, negative 12x plus 2x will give me indeed the thing I need in the middle, negative 10x. So all I need to do is figure out what the signs have to be in order for me to have a negative 12 and a positive 2x. If I put a negative here, I'll get the negative 12. If I put a positive here, I'll have the positive 2. And now I have the factorization of my trinomial. Now let's say we wanted to check to see if this was the correct factorization. If we wanted to check, all we had to do was FOIL. And once again, the first times first will give me the 3x squared. Outside outside will give me the negative 12x. Inside inside will give me the positive 2x. When I combine those, I'll get negative 10x. And last times last will give me negative 8. And here I've factored this trinomial. This is the solution. This is the factorization. And that method was trial and error.